Hi everyone, I'm Nikki from Improve Fitness, and today we're going to be talking about the difference between online training and personal training. So I offer both of them as a product here at Improve Fitness. Personal training I've been doing for many years. Online training is something that I'm just kind of offering this month, and it's really kind of providing a platform and a package to help a section of the population that are coming to me. So just to give you a little bit of a background in case you're not familiar with me and my business, as I said, my name's Nikki, I'm at Improve Fitness, and I'm based in Honiton in Devon. I've been in the fitness industry now for about 10 years. I started off as a kind of group exercise instructor part-time. And then about 5.5 years ago, I moved full-time doing it following the birth of my son, qualified as a personal trainer so I could work with people on a one-to-one, more personalised basis, expanded a big range of classes that I offer. And in the last kind of 18 months, I have built a personalised fitness studio here at my house where I deliver a lot of my classes for group sizes up to 12, and I do all my personal training one-to-one in my studio as well. I used to do a lot of personal training at a local gym and also at people's houses and in parks and stuff as a mobile personal trainer. But I decided to move it all in-house last year because I've got now the facilities that can really help build people's confidence in a gym environment without now having kind of eyes on you from people else that are in the gym. And I've also got a massive array of equipment that can really help people that are at absolute beginners, where their body strength might be too little to move their body weight. So we can use kind of small dumbbells and weights to kind of start progressing their weight gains at the earlier end of it, as well as kind of 300 kilos worth of barbells and weights for those that are kind of really going up their strength goals as well. So during these 10 years, have really started to specialize in a few different things. As always, I think you kind of find your niche as you kind of progress. And the type of client I really love working with is someone that's either very new to exercise or someone that's kind of really trying to build some confidence in exercising. So I'm a specialist in children's exercise, which might be a bit of a weird one to do, but I'm really passionate about getting people exercising as early into their life as possible and creating an environment that they feel safe in and have a can-do attitude to exercise. I think for a lot of children, they either see kind of having to take part in team sports or nothing at all. Just because they hate PE at school doesn't mean that they need to not be active. So if I'm trying to get kids really liking exercise from early on, that's fantastic. Equally, I've done some specialist qualifications and I do a lot of training now with pregnant ladies or postnatal pregnancies. So I run some specific classes for mums to come along with their babies. So we really kind of work on rebuilding their strength after pregnancy, as well as kind of getting their body equipped for kind of life as a mum. And then I also have a really big kind of type of audience group that naturally have kind of started coming to my classes over the years, and I love to work with. And that's ladies that are in their kind of perimenopausal or menopausal years. And the reason I think that group has kind of grown so much is kind of one, because they reach a time in their life where they actually get some time again. So they've kind of gone through years of kind of having children at home, and the children are starting to like fly the nest or in the teenage years, and now they've got some time to kind of dedicate to themselves. But also the side effects of perimenopause can kind of be quite hard on people's bodies, mentally and physically. And so it seems to be a time that a lot of them are wanting to try and access exercise either for the first time or a long time in their life. And they really want to kind of get stronger to start feeling better about themselves as well. So although they seem like quite a broad spectrum, kind of right from kind of 5-year-old children right up into kind of menopausal ladies, there is a general theme through that. And I said that is trying to help people get more confident in the gym and get stronger and get fitter. And that's the main thing that I want to do. I don't necessarily want to work with people that have got massive aesthetic goals. So kind of bodybuilders kind of style, stage lean, kind of competitor style. That's not really for me. Equally kind of real big sporting performance, strength and conditioning stuff. It's something I always thought I wanted to do, but actually I found my thing. I love working with very normal people that are just like you and me, and that just want to be fitter and more active in life, but not to take over our life. So I will train 3 times a week in my studio. I barely ever record it. I just do it because I want to be fit and active, but it's not my life. I love eating foods. I love lots of different tastes, and I love eating lots of nutritious foods. But again, it's something I do for myself, not for an external thing here as well. Lovely. So back to kind of the main point of this video, and that is to kind of make the comparison between personal training and online coaching. So as I said, so personal training generally is a fitness-based session. So I run it quite similar to a lot of people would. So you generally would pay a trainer kind of on an hourly rate to come in, and they would put you through an exercise plan for that hour or so, really focused towards your goals. So we look at what you're trying to achieve, design an exercise program that suits that as best as possible. So that a lot of the time it's going to be kind of working on building strength. There might be some kind of rehab injury work in there as well that we're working around. Sometimes it is a little bit sporting based. So I quite often have a lot of customers that come that, I don't know, play hockey or netball or stuff, and they kind of want to get better at that. Still on a very obviously amateur level, but we'll tailor exercises to do that. We'll also tailor things to really fit with your likes and dislikes and kind of your moods of the day. So quite often if I get a client coming in that's had a really hard, busy few weeks and their body's always feeling a bit broken, I'm not going to push them over the edge. I don't want them to kind of be broken even more. So it'll be more about finding exercises going to benefit them, that they're going to leave in a positive attitude, and they're going to feel a sense of achievement with that. During that session, there's always a lot of conversations in regards to nutrition and habits and behaviours, all in line with what that customer's goals are. But one thing to consider on this, which is why I start the online training, is there's a lot to fit into potentially a 1 hour kind of time frame. So if you're a customer that's only able to come, let's say once a week, which a lot of people financially they can only do, or time-wise they can only do, that 1 hour week is a tiny, tiny, tiny fragment of people's worth a whole week's. So if that's the only exercise they're doing in the week, progress is going to be slow. And if that's the only time they're really focused on the goals and they kind of forget about it by the next day, again, reaching those goals can be really hard. And that's why I wanted to kind of set up something a little bit different that can kind of hit a slightly different target in regards to goals. And so I've set up my online training offer, which still does have some training and exercise within it, but they're programs that you would find on an app that I give you, all designed for yourself. So especially if I already know you're okay already, it's really easy for me to program these exercises. But based on your goals, I'll set up a training plan that can be done either at home, with no equipment or some just small bits of equipment, or if you've got access to a gym, I would write a training program that you can use in the gym, or a lot of my clients like to come to my classes as kind of their exercise section as well. So there's two options there. So we will be looking at exercise, we'd be looking at your activity levels, but the main focus will be on kind of your eating behaviors and your habits and your lifestyle choices and how all of that is impacting your goals. So for people that are on a fat loss journey in particular, online training is probably the best option for you, because we can really look at what you're currently doing now in regards to your eating behaviors, kind of the amount of calories you're eating and why you're eating them and what happens, and if there's any binging happening, when and how that happens, and let's try and put steps in to fix them for the long term. And that's the massive thing about what I want to do. This is not a quick fix diet. I'm not going to suddenly chuck out a set meal plan for you to follow, because anyone could probably follow a set meal plan for a week or two. And yes, they can probably lose some weight for it. And yes, and probably most of you have done that before. But the fact that you're probably listening to this probably means that it hasn't worked long term. And that's what I want to change. So we're looking at changing your life in as smaller steps as possible to align with your goals. And for a lot of people that are looking for fat loss, they don't really connect the two. They kind of see dieting and fat loss as a stage, and then you kind of return to a normal life, which unfortunately that means returning to probably your base level of fat that you probably had before. I'm all about your fat loss diets journey looking very similar to where you're going to maintain once you're at that lower body fat. And so we'll look at kind of the end goal first, look at how we think you want your life to look in regards to your behaviors and your eating habits, and then kind of implement them into your diet phase so you can lose the weight and then you can maintain the weight as well. Now, in practical terms on how we do that, as I said, you'll have an app that's got your training programs on in regards to exercise, and maybe we'll have some targets on there looking at maybe your activity and your step levels, but also kind of your behaviors and patterns, depending on kind of where we feel your weaknesses are. You would kind of have them as like daily or weekly accountability things that you tick off to kind of keep your mind engaged. Would also on a weekly basis kind of have a full check-in. So I'd ask you a lot of questions in regards to how the week's gone and why things have gone well, and kind of to put the ball back into your court to really figure out kind of how we can improve that on the week coming ahead. And then every month we would kind of look at a whole review on kind of how the last 4 weeks has been, and we would track your progress along the way. So that might be through using the scales as kind of a body weight thing, measurements. So take measure around your kind of parts of your body to see how it's shrinking or increasing. Progress photos. So the app allows you to take photos that you can compare kind of one against the other. So over time, we can see your body kind of changing in regards to shape. And I would monitor all of that with you as well. And I would constantly making tweaks behind the scenes. The other big thing that is the difference to online coaching is that you kind of want access to me kind of 24/7. Now, obviously, realistically, I'm not going to be able to answer the message every time within kind of 2 minutes, because I've got classes to run and family to see and people to do socialise with. But every day I'll be checking those messages and responding to customers as soon as possible. So if you have any hiccups or questions or anything along the way, you don't need to wait till next week to see me as you would do in personal training. You can just drop me a message straight away. Sorry for the cough. And I'd send you back a kind of personalised message to make sure I answer your questions as well. It might be I'll send you some resources. It might be I'll send you a link to a podcast that I might have done to kind of delve into stuff into a deeper level. So as I said, with the online coaching, there's a lot more kind of contact in regards to communication between us, but you don't get the face-to-face kind of training aspect. On the personal training, you get the face-to-face training aspect, but then kind of in between sessions, apart from maybe a little bit of ad hoc contact between us, you kind of left to your own devices a little bit. So they're both fantastic products. I love personal training. I love getting people fitter and stronger and healthier, and for them to suddenly realize what their body can achieve. But I really love this new project that I now got, which can actually tick a lot of the boxes that my personal training has struggled to tick over the years. So they're a bit of an introduction to, as I said, both of them. On my website, you can find a kind of comparison chart to really show kind of which bits they can compare against. But I really would say, as I said, it comes down to what your number one goal is. If it's fat loss, I really would try the online coaching first. If it's kind of feeling fitter and stronger, or kind of rehab, getting your body moving more functionally, I would go to personal training. Equally, they work really well together. So I have got a couple of clients that are doing the online coaching with me and do some ad hoc personal training sessions. So they come in every 2 or 3 weeks, and I have a session where I kind of go through in detail kind of what I want them to do. I add that exercise program onto the app, and then they're kind of free to run with it themselves for the next couple of weeks, knowing exactly kind of what they're trying to achieve out of it. And they kind of have that accountability of coming back to me for me to kind of check their form and check everything's working and progressing nicely. So that's a bit about both. If you have any questions, do message me. My personal training books are pretty much as full as they're going to be. I might get the odd slot occasionally, so do let me know, but they do sit quite full. So I've got a lot of regular customers that don't ever want to leave, which is very nice. And my online coaching, I will keep numbers limited. So there's only kind of generally 1 or 2 slots at a time, just to make sure I can keep that level of service and attention up to those customers as well. So any questions, give me a shout. But thanks ever so much for tuning in.